Yes, I'm here.
Ms. Larkatecki? Here. Ms. Dana Endres? Here. Ms. Stacy Over?
Here.
Mr. James Preston?
Here.
All present.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular Board of Ed meeting that we had last month, November 15th, 2020. Lark and Dana and Stacy, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Joe, do we have any communication Board of Ed items?
Nope.
Consideration or assignments? All right, so we'll work through C through F. Reports, so we have an architect, I think, who's joining us via Zoom.
Yes, Jen, if you don't mind, I'll give them a short introduction.
Okay, yes.
So if you recall, last winter, around the same time frame, December, January, the district put out an RFP for building condition survey and 5-year planning RFP for those services, and the board did award BCA Architects and Engineers that contract for a building condition survey and the 5-year plan back in February. So they performed the building condition survey in late August, early September. And the building condition survey, so you know, is something that's required by state ed every 5 years. So Rensselaer's term was up, so to speak, in 2023. So the building condition survey was performed now, and then the report will be submitted early January. So I have with us tonight Scott Jewell, who's principal architect at BCA, and Max Bender, who is the project manager for Rensselaer City School District, also from BCA, to present for you tonight the building condition survey results. And with that, Scott and Max, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Yeah, that's great, Scott. If you can share, go ahead and do that. Yes, we can.
I don't know if you can see this, but this is a much more detailed report where we look at the items and we say, what did we find? What's our recommendation? And then we put a cost to that. And we also are using another kind of software which captured this data, and we have pictures and we have the locations of where all photographs are, all of that as well. But this presentation, like I said, just takes those items and then shows you what the amounts are. Now you'll see some items on here have a P1 next to them, and these were items that in discussions with um, the district administration we thought might be the priority one items to look at if you were ever going to do a future capital project. So this is site and utilities. We've got playgrounds. You'll see in the biggest item on here is athletic fields and playgrounds, 1.6. And that involved the track, also drainage at the soccer field, and what was the other item, Max?
Tennis courts.
Some the bank erosion behind the softball field, and then
That's
some drainage actually at the within the track at the there.
The tennis courts were also a big item in that.
Oh yeah, they were around 300,000, I think, for that. So all the site and utility work was about 2.5 million. The next category is probably the biggest category, and as you may be aware, the building envelope. And item 2 here, this exterior walls. This is looking at the EFIS system that you have around the building, which, as you know, has been having a lot of problems, a lot of water infiltration, and isn't getting any better. So we looked at that, and we also worked with Garland Corporation, who has been out to your building. They are a major roofing and exterior facade company that works throughout the world. They were out to your facilities and looked at the EFIS system as well and your roofs. And so we worked, they put together a report about 2 years ago now, I think. And then we also had another third party come in and take a look at what they had found, and they agreed with the findings. And there is a lot of issues with the EFIS in that building that needs to be corrected at some point sooner rather than later, because it is causing damage to wood blocking behind it, potentially to steel behind it. Whenever you have water penetrating your envelope, as you know, if you have a leak in your house, it's got to be fixed eventually. That's the biggest item in the entire building condition survey, and we have about a 12 to 15 million dollar price tag. And the reason it's not precise like some of these other ones is because there are a lot of unknowns with a system like this, and we really we believe that to replace just the skin of the building probably in the $12 million range, but we put some additional money in there to deal with things that we may find, such as all of the wood blocking around the windows. There were multiple windows that were looked at, and all of them had wet blocking, and that we may have to repair that or replace some of that, depending on what is found whenever you end up taking that EFIS out and reskinning the building. So that's why there's a wide range there. The other items we were able to identify, like there's X amount of doors, just a little bit of work at those windows. Even the roof, we know from the roof square footage and the types of systems that we may put down there, we can put a pretty firm number to that. But all told, the building envelope issues are your biggest issues, and that's somewhere between 19 to 22 million to replace some of that.
So Scott, if I may interject for just a moment, for the board members, this is what I've been talking about, the EFIS and the roof, the TPO roof, the metal edging, all of that is what I've been talking about for a few years, because we've had forensic engineers come to review it, we've had infrared scans. Like Scott mentioned, Garland has come to look at the wrap and the EFIS around the windows. We had a ton of rain on Monday, And guess where a lot of that rain went right through those windows? It's not the windows that are leaking, it is the water that's in the walls that is coming through into classrooms. So this is the culmination of a lot of those conversations that I've been having with you guys over the past few years. And $20 million was sort of the dollar amount that had been thrown out there. And as you can see, this is almost hitting the nail on the head when you look at the estimates that we have in front of us.
Is this talking about taking the entire, like, stucco, like, skin off
The
of the entire?
ephes is like that primary color, the pink,
The tan, the blue?
yellow, whatever
Yeah.
color you wanna call it, blue. That's the ephes.
And that would
We're
only
not
be,
talking
like,
about the
chipped
brick
off.
lower, we're talking about
Yeah.
the ephes part, yes.
And then would we put a similar product back on?
Yes.
Hopefully it lasts more than 10 years.
But it would be done correctly. It would be wrapped correctly. Well, that's Scott.
We'd also be looking at more of a metal panel system, correct, Max? That's what we were talking about earlier about. It's an insulated metal panel, and it's made, it's a more durable product than EFIS is. You'll see EFIS on all kinds of buildings, like shopping centers and things like that, where they might change hands every 10 years or so, and then they'll reskin the building. EFIS is really, it's not a product that you typically see on school buildings, to be quite honest with you, because it's not a product like brick or steel that will last, a long time.
What's the design lifespan of EVIS?
The lifespan, if it's done properly, and that's the key, you could probably get 15 or 20 years out of that, I would think. The problem that we've seen with your facade is that a lot of the detailing was not done properly. So it's letting water get in behind the system. And EFIS it's a type of system, it does not like water. When water comes into it, it really starts to cause problems with it.
Is this a material that's really suited for the Northeast? You know, a lot of these buildings, the school building to me looks like something that you would see in the Southwest where it's arid and there's not a lot of rain. Is this a product that was really just like misused for the location with rain and snow?
Well, there are quite a few buildings that use EFIS, but like I said, a lot of them are commercial buildings. You'll see them at shopping centers and pharmacies and things like that will use that material. So they do use it in the Northeast, but it's very, very susceptible to water, and it has to be done properly. And if it's not, it can cause problems pretty quickly, which is what you've been experiencing with your facade. For school buildings, it's not a material that you typically see in the Northeast because it's made with wet.
To dovetail what Scott said too, is about, I would say 20 to 30 years ago, this system was known for not even putting a drainage system behind it. And it was kind of just literally stuck onto the main substrate wall structure, which is exactly how it was installed on your building. Nowadays, what they're trying to do is they're adding in drainage mats and other systems to help that if there is water that infiltrates it to get out properly without affecting your building. Once again, that goes back to what Scott alluded to, is as long as it's installed properly. And there was a lot of issues that we noticed in the installation, especially up towards where the roof edge was, where any of the parapets were up there, where any of the EFIS was tucked back. So if you were standing out on the site looking up at it, where it kind of tucked back around the corner, it wasn't finished properly in some of those areas. So that's kind of where we discovered some of the issues.
So are the estimates for the $12 to $15 million, is that for replacing it with the metal paneling you described, or is that to replace the existing EFIS material?
That's to replace it with a new metal panel system, insulated metal panel system. You could go with masonry, you could go with brick, but that would be even more expensive.
But it might last more than 10 years.
It certainly would, yes it would, you're correct. But the metal panel system has got a pretty
Okay, thank you, Scott.
So Megan,
Just continuing on, and please stop me if there's any questions as we go through this.
Scott, I'm sorry, the board president had a question.
No, I
I'm
just
sorry,
wanted to
jumped
ask, major capital projects, Megan, there's funding kickback from SED, isn't there for major capital
There's
projects?
building aid.
Building
You
aid,
get
right, so,
building aid on projects, yes.
for major capital ones, right,
Yes.
yes,
Mhm.
thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Scott.
The next category was building interiors. There were some things that we found, they're not major in the, compared to what we found on the exterior of the building, but we did notate these. Some flooring, some carpeting that should be replaced, some damaged walls, curb rectifacts that we should look at. But
Kind of normal wear and tear that happens in a school.
right. Some lockers, some casework, and some doors. But in the overall scheme of things, even though 413,000 is a lot of money, it's not for a building of this size. That's not to be unexpected after running a food service for as long as it has been. HVAC systems, we found some things. These are your mechanical systems. We found some things. This item, the ventilation system, Max, do you know what that entailed without pulling up the details?
Yeah, so the type of system that was installed here was it's actually a good system, but it's difficult to maintain and difficult to, I don't want to get into specifics, it's difficult to kind of wrap your head around, but basically the controls behind the system for heating and cooling of course means dehumidification. Um, the system is actually, the state education department doesn't recommend this type of system anymore. This is something new within the last 5 to 10 years that they recommend not doing this type of mechanical system anymore in schools, especially in larger buildings like yours. So as it is a decent system, it is difficult to maintain specific makeup air to various classrooms, difficult to maintain the proper dehumidification within spaces. So you know how it gets hot and humid in the summer, it gets into the spaces, and that can kind of affect other materials and components in the building. So this number is not stating that your system is bad. This is stating that we recommend in the near future to look at it and make major upgrades to that system, to a more coherent system for the size of building and the amount of spaces you have within it.
Okay. Then plumbing systems, not too much here. 250 or so thousand for that. These are just things that we recommended. Electrical systems, there's some upgrades to some lighting, right, and some communication systems, but about 700,000 there for that. And there was there's an accessible route, and this was just a very, very minor thing that we found. It was a signage, I think, or something like that, right?
This was a couple components. It doesn't abide by the accessibility codes, which protrude objects on the wall
Okay.
in the way of an interior accessible component. So more or less those components just
So to sprinkle a tiny piece of good news on this. So this is not a surprise to any of us. That $20 million price tag is not really a surprise. It's still just as hard of a pill to swallow, but we've known that this is coming. So the silver lining is that we had the ARP, the American Rescue Plan stimulus funds. And part of that funding allows you to take care of the health and safety of the students in whatever way we see fit. You know, at one point it was the PPE, but this was a much larger project, just like the boiler project, which that is not included in the HVAC number because we have the new boiler, the 4 new boilers, because that project was completed back in September. So we did set aside about $200,000, $200,000 to $300,000 of the ARP stimulus funds to do this test of the EFS, to peel back and see what we're actually dealing with in this building. In what we believe to be the worst section of the building, which is over, the stair tower that Scott is referring to is by the loading dock. And if you drive by there, you can see that it's wet on the outside of the building, you can see. We don't get a lot of sun over there as it is anyway, so it's just, it never has an opportunity to dry. And what happens is we have moisture that bubbles through the stair tower, so it's constant, our maintenance staff is constantly having to sand it all down and repaint it. Just because it's an eyesore and it's a detriment. So we are going to start with that, utilizing the stimulus funds. Of course, we still have to follow SED regulations and go through facilities planning and hit all those marks, send in all those reports. When they do that, we will find out more. Jim?
Okay, so we're gonna use that money to do the testing. Then what did the study accomplish? If you don't know what the problem is, then what did this do?
I think we don't know the severity of the problem.
We know there's a problem. What this test will do is show us how deep the problem is and if their estimate is on the mark or if it's maybe slightly high
So
or
that,
slightly
these
low.
numbers don't mean anything.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say we've had a forensic engineer, we've had infrared testing, we see what it is, but it also allows us to start on a project with funding that is going to end. That's another piece of it. Scott, were you gonna say something to Jim's question?
That's my thing. Once you start a project, you never know what's gonna happen. So
Right.
really, we know it
Doing
could be much more
the
expensive than this.
transcripts and
So stair
surgery.
But what was the point of the study?
Yeah.
How long
It
does
didn't
the
find
stair
it.
project take?
They didn't accomplish it, is all I'm saying.
I don't have an answer for a deadline, but hopefully within the year.
So what scares me, Megan, is water is so dangerous, can do so much damage.
It is doing a lot of
Like,
damage on this
that
property.
scares me, like,
It is.
we
It's
know
under us,
in our
it's under
city,
the
people,
sidewalks,
you
all
know,
those sidewalks
lost
are
their homes.
heaving.
Like, this could be like,
Softball fields are
well, we
eroding.
know, yeah, like, that scares me, water scares me,
The
so.
track.
Do we have time to, I mean, how much time are we talking before we can actually address it? Because we know
We've
outside
been
of the
addressing
damage,
it,
the health
but
of
the
the
problem is we've been Band-Aiding everything.
Yeah, right, I don't
That's
want.
what we've been doing,
yeah.
is just doing Band-Aids. This is a major project to really address it,
Yeah.
and not
It needs
just
to be-
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
To make do so that we can,
So of that roughly $41 million, how much of that would be eligible for sort of building aid?
I can't give you a dollar amount right now. We have almost exhausted our building aid on this building. I believe that is up in 26, 27. So that's always a good time to do a capital project when one building aid for a project is falling off to start a new one. But it depends on the total amount of the project and SED has to review what's aidable portion, what's not, those kind of questions have to be answered.
Do we have the ability to wait until 26, 27, given the severity of the we can Band-Aid it for a couple more years?
I think we can wait on, some of it,
Not the high
probably not all of it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking like May, but, but sooner rather than later. On some of it, not $41 million of it.
The planning takes a long time, and we should really, what we're going to recommend is that we put to the voters to begin a capital reserve fund to start putting money in there this May,
Yes.
right? So we'll start saving some money. We're putting this on the plate for conversation. We need to start planning. When we get to that time frame, hopefully we're ready for implementation and we have some seed money to get it started.
It's a tough pill to swallow with a building that's really not.
It's extremely tough, extremely.
That's why I'm.
It was brand new.
All right.
Well, everybody wanted the brand new building. All right.
Okay, any more questions
Try
for
money.
Scott or Max?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Yes. A new color for the building.
Yeah, no worries.
I agree
Olivia will
with
be
that.
so happy.
What'd you say,
She
Tara?
doesn't
I'll vote on
like the
that
color,
in a minute.
Olivia hates the color of the building, so she'll be happy that it's gonna change. Yeah, I think
It's
we're
not
all in
gonna be the same
agreement.
color when it comes back.
No, let's not.
I'll vote on that one.
I don't know, mauve and blue.
Yeah, I don't know, we got leftovers, I
Should have
think.
made it brick to begin with. Wouldn't have this problem. We
Yeah.
are still standing just fine.
Can't go back. Let's just keep moving forward. All right. So we have a report out from the high school. So Dom and Bob, what do you got for us?
Yep, so, to start with, we're looking to bring in a speaker. The person that I've been in talks with is Tay Fisher. He would do a presentation to the elementary, the middle school, and the high school. So we're hoping to get him in pretty soon, sometime after break, and, go there. I think it'd be really good for the kids. He was a Siena player, then played for the, Harlem Globetrotters for a handful of years.
He just finished at Colony. He did their Be Kind program for the elementary school, so he's been
Yeah.
going around.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about
Yeah.
what he does, so, we're looking to bring him in. You see some kids out in the hallway. We had our middle school concert yesterday, high school concert today that Bob and I are gonna pop out in right after this. Also, a big thank you to Mr. McGill and Ms. Apunte. They're going to put on a concert for the students, Friday last period, so we'll have 6 through 12 down in the auditorium, and they'll do a winter concert for all the students and stuff, so that'll be a nice thing. There were some questions on sports eligibility, so I'll talk about that real quickly. When we talk about sports eligibility, we have 3 categories that a student can be ineligible for. One is attendance, so they do this at the end of every quarter. If you have 5 unexcused tardies or absences, then you're on appeal for attendance. For discipline, if you have 2 referrals, then you're on appeal for discipline. And for grades, if you're failing 2 subjects, you're on appeal for grades. The way we monitor that is attendance is monitored just based on whether you're coming to school, coming in on time. Discipline, same, whether you're getting those referrals or not.
Are we talking about referral detention or referral suspended?
Referral
like there's a-
suspended. Yeah.
Hmm?
Referral suspended.
Suspend-
It's
oh,
a little bit shaky now because we went to a system, we used to have a detention
Yes.
slip
Yeah.
and a referral slip. So we went to a system where everything was referral. So it makes it a lot tougher. It has to be set as a referral for us to be able to process it. Bob did work with School Tool this summer to make a teacher able to assign a detention for something in their class. So that helps, it helps to, lessen a couple of referrals, right? Because it's almost like that detention slip that we used to have. But yes, it is. Right now it's a referral. To be honest with you, I was thinking about that same thing. It's probably not a bad thing to look at to make it a suspension rather than a referral. So that's definitely something that we'll bring up and take a peek at you. And then for the grades, we do have a runaround sheet for the students. So they bring it to each one of their teachers, they'll bring it back in, we evaluate it. They're eligible week by week right? So they can be ineligible for this week, they can do better next week and then become eligible again.
Is that what you mean, you get put on appeal?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Now, for the ones that are doing with the teachers, what we're looking, sometimes students are really struggling in class, right? So they may have a 30 in a class. Very tough for them in a week to get their grade up to passing. So what we look for is, you know, you had a 30, now you got a 45, and the teacher's putting down that you're making an effort in doing your work and stuff like that. And as long as they're progressing that way, then we work on it and go from there.
I would
Questions?
imagine,
Yeah.
I would imagine you have students that kind of have appeals in multiple areas that they're working towards
Yes.
at the same time.
Yeah.
So in that instance, is there additional supports put in place to ensure like success and improvement in all
Yeah,
potentially
so
three areas?
what we really like utilize and rely on, and let Billy speak about it, is the coaches. So remember back when I was coaching, you kind of, you know, it all goes out to the coaches. They know who's on those appeals when they get them, so they're working with the kids. Listen, your teammates are counting on you. You know, you're having trouble getting here. We really need you. You're an important part of the team. We really need you to get there. And that seems to really help with that. I would say with the attendance, we do have our attendance committee meeting that is a support to that. We'll do home visits and stuff like that. And then, you know, we'll recommend that, you know, students who are on for grades and do that runaround sheet. You know what I mean? If I get a kid who's failing 2, I'll tell the kid and I'll tell the coach, listen, probably a good idea if you go see Mrs. Jones and, you know, stay after with her a couple days. If you go a couple minutes late to practice, you're much better off getting that grade out. All right, other questions on that? Good, and then the last thing I have before I turn it over to Bob is we'll have our Regents Week coming up at the end of January. It will be January 22nd through the 26th. It's Tuesday through Friday. For grades 6 through 8, there will not be any change in the schedule. They'll be in for the full week. Grades 6 through 8, you won't see any difference. If you're in grades 9 through 12, we're going to have 2 days where we're not in session. So on Tuesday, which would be January 22nd. So Tuesday, January 22nd, grades 9 through 12 will not be in session unless you're coming in for an exam. That's when we'll be giving the English 11 Regents exam to all of our juniors. We also have the living environment Regents, which we have a handful of kids taking. So those kids will come in, take those Regencies. We'll use our staff to proctor and administer those, and then go from there. There are exams on Wednesday and Thursday, but we have probably 10 or 20 kids taking them. We can handle that and proctor those exams while holding school. So that's not an issue for for Wednesday and Thursday. And then on Friday, we have to grade all of the Regents exams in every subject area. So students, again, will not be in session for grades 9 through 12 while those teachers grade those.
Do we have a lot of seniors now that have to take some in order to graduate, like challenging them?
Yep, we
I
have a
know they get
couple.
another chance, they just can't, you know, but
Yeah.
it always, you know, I hope we're
It
giving
is.
them the support we can to get them through that Regents to get it
Definitely.
across the
It's,
stage.
we've been pretty lucky, and the bar has been 50 up until now for an exemption. So that does go away
Okay,
this January. We don't have a lot of students that, we do have a handful, but not a lot, that are looking for that Regents exams to graduate.
okay,
We have more who maybe need the living environment
Yes.
or the algebra, who are in younger grades. All right, pass it over to Mr. Martinelli.
Great. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our discipline and about our drug concern in our building. But before I started, I had it all worked out what I was actually going to say tonight to the board. I wanted to share with you something that happened to me on the way here. I'll go home, walk the dog, have my dinner, And while picking up my car in the parking lot, I passed through, not in Rensselaer, where I live, a different city, I passed through some youngsters who were sitting and enjoying themselves a nice vape. And I had to basically crawl over them. And they were very polite, they were very nice, but I didn't want to smell like pot addressing the board, so I quickly got in my pickup and changed my shirt. This is a snapshot of what we're dealing with in our school today. Not just in Rensselaer, but wherever you go. It could be Albany, Los Angeles, Florida, it doesn't matter. We and school administrators are dealing with this influx and percentage of kids coming in more and more. Not only with the traditional vapes, we're really still seeing those, but we're seeing synthetic drugs, we're seeing gummies, which cannot be smelled, we are seeing, and more in my 28-year career, we're seeing kids, and I just have to say, more stoned than I've ever seen in my career, and wish to see. But here's what we do differently at Rensselaer, the Rensselaer response, and thank you, in the spring you approved the REACH program, which has been a tremendous asset to what we're doing. We want our youngsters, we want our kids back in seats as quickly as possible, back in school. Our job is not to suspend them, our job is to find a way where we can educate them. And the REACH program has done that. We have limited the time of suspension out. In the past, if a student has an illegal substance, it could be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, even further. Now working with that student in really a three-pronged approach. Restorative, which is the REACH program, social emotional, which is so big with having mandated counseling. If you were caught with an illegal drug, you have to go on Fridays to the REACH counselor, which is Teresa Darkangelis, and short punitive, which we're always gonna have in place. With that in effect, we're having our kids come back to us sooner. What were we doing? In the past, we were setting them free, hopefully, probably to do more drugs, probably to sit home, and now we're engaging them. We're bringing them back into a process. And you could speak to my REACH kids. It's not an easy process, spending a Saturday. We have fantastic staff that has dedicated themselves to come in. And I know they get paid, I get it, but who really wants to work on a Saturday? But they come in, and what we do administratively is really line up specific teachers to work with those kids. Chris Johnson came in a few times to work with kids with social media concerns. If it's an alt-ed kid, Mr. Higgs has been here to work with them, to build those relationships. The more relationships we build with kids, the better we are, and hopefully, I'm gonna bring something my dad has always said, keep talking till they listen. And this is what we do. We keep talking over and over and preaching to them until hopefully they listen. And understanding how dangerous it is. I just read a study tonight, and I've become a minor expert on drugs in the last 2 years, that I think 50% or 58% of all students 16 and under have tried pot at one time or another. And what they have said, which is always the truth, it is the gateway drug. Kids don't have a greater chance of going to that next drug by, if they have and they tried marijuana. But again, the Rensselaer response is happening where it's happening no other place. I speak to my coworkers or former colleagues in downstate. Dom speaks to his fellow principals here, and what we have in an administrative team is conviction that we're gonna hold the line. And it is tough. I won't get it. It wears us down. But we will continue to hold the line, and we're seeing it in the numbers. And I was gonna dazzle you with some of the numbers I gave the Joe. Our referrals are down 33%. Out-of-school suspensions down close to 10. In school, and you can read the numbers. But the big category is the last one, estimated extended OSS. There's no ways for me to do this in school tools, so I had to count every one. And to my knowledge, with students extended a longer period of time, from September to December last year, we had close to 580 days out, where now we're getting them back, 80% sooner, but about 121 days. So we are on the right track. I do not know if we'll ever solve the problem. It's a systemic concern, but me and this guy next to me, we're gonna keep talking till they listen, over and over and hold that line. I thank the board, I wanna thank Megan and all the staff members that give up their Saturdays to listen to me, which is probably not the best thing they wanna do, as Mr. Higgs. And there's some numbers here I'll throw out. You know, we had 34 students invited to reach, 28 of them attended. Out of those 28, it's more now for the month of December, but in December we had 8 students with drug-related concerns. And again, they go immediately, Teresa, mandated with a parent component in place. Joe has looked into, and I think we confirmed DITAP training on
January 10th.
so a multitude of staff members will be trained and to understand if a kid's under the influence or not. All the tier 1s and tier 2s we still have in place. And I'm excited, I know it's kind of weird that I get excited about this stuff, that we have 2023 prevention needs assessment that's gonna be coming out. I'd like to see the data on that. So that's our discipline. Any questions?
No, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Barb.
Sorry.
Go right ahead.
In terms of like drug use, I know we've talked about vaping on buses in the past. How much of this activity is happening on the bus versus like in the building?
Heather Williams is fantastic. I mean, we communicate almost every single day and we review the video. It's happening on the bus, sure it is. And, you know, like me and the adolescents in the parking lot, see something, say something. We need kids to understand, and we do. I have a group, you know, fantastic students that say, Mr. Martinelli, more likely the younger students come up to me, the 6th and 7th grade, to say what the high school kids are doing. And then we review the videos, we break it down, and, you know, if it's on the bus, it's us. The student has similar consequence. But it's so hard to determine if it's a regular vape.
Well, I was just gonna say that.
It is, you know, and we talk about vape, in the bathroom, having the alarms go off, and I know colleagues of mine said it's a waste of time. I am called to the restroom more times than I want to admit because of smoke in there or suspected smoke. You could see on our bathrooms, I put them on. If it's smoke, it's vape. If it's vape, it's yours. Because we're not in the restrooms with the students, but if we have, in many cases, we clear the bathroom out, the next person comes in, and when they leave, if they leave with a scent or a puff of smoke, then I am called, the Dom is called. And they own it, they have to own it at that point. So it's happening everywhere, yeah, on the buses also.
Have you had 100% parental buy-in to our discipline process?
We're getting there. A lot of parents that really were not buying in, and I will tell you, there's less of a gray area now here in Rensselaer. You're gonna make it or you're gonna struggle because we're giving you every option. I wanna say we have fantastic parents that say, you know what, I want my kid in school. I don't want him suspended for 7 weeks, so he is going, I don't care. We have other parents that will say no, and those are the kids that are struggling now in our building because they're not taking up, again, three-pronged approach. We're offering something no other school district is offering, restorative or punitive and counseling. And if you turn us down on every one of those, what else do we have? We have to go back to punitive for the safety and well-being of the student. We can't show our other students that we're gonna be laxed on it, so then we have to start, and we talk about the matrix, we increase it every single time. So Dan, to answer your question, no, not 100%. But I go back to keep talking till they listen. And that conversation happens over and over again. It's wonderful to hear a parent come back to me afterwards and say, okay, I get it now. Now Johnny's coming on Saturday. I am dragging him up there. We had great success stories. We have students who are assigned Saturday and have no way to get up here, and they're biking, and they know 1 minute past 8, it does not count. No, you report to work on, it's a life lesson. You have to be there on time. And if you're 1 minute past 8, I'm not counting it, and we could go to the extended date. I had to do that a couple of times. It's an interesting dynamic. It's been fun, tiring, but fun, and we're committed to it.
Do you have, I wanna say repeat customers, but maybe on a second time, a different outcome, like a more positive outcome? Or
We had that.
what's that story look like?
Yeah, naturally, confidentiality, in fact, I had slides with pictures in there, and I thought to myself, I'm giving up confidentiality, take the slides out. We have had it at times, but I also have students tell me it's so much part of their lives, it's almost impossible. Think of us, I'm a caffeine drinker, I'm a coffee drinker, 5 cups a day. If I took that out of my daily use every single day, I am not gonna be that great without my 5 cups of coffee. And so it's so woven into the fabric of who they are since they're youngsters that it's very hard to pull it out at this point. And we're giving that effort. We're trying to do that. We're trying to throw a sheet of protection over Rensselaer, and at times it's a little bit frustrating, but it's been rewarding. But yet, and Mr. Higgs has come to several of our reach sessions, he could attest to it. It is frustrating but rewarding at the same time.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Absolutely not. Any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think you had a question from over here.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So, I hear it's a great program.
Thank you.
My question is what if it's the same student? How many chances do they get in this program before it is that they have to be suspended or expelled?
It's a good question. It's undetermined. We have to know of the infraction and severity of the infraction.
But I think what I would say, Cass, is if we see progress, then it's, you know, it's come back. If we don't see anything, then we're kind of like, listen, it's not working.
Okay, I mean, I'm just asking because
Yeah.
discipline-wise, if a child knows that they can get away with something,
Correct.
oh, I can just go back into the REACH program.
Yeah.
Thinking as a teenager.
Yep.
You know, so that's why I asked how many, you know, I mean, I understand it
Right.
would be the severity of everything, but how many chances do they?
So I think a better thing was how many people have we had that have repeated there?
Not many, but you said get away with something. Trust me, they're not getting away with anything.
Well,
They're
no, thinking that if
Right.
they do it again, they're
They'll
just gonna
be-
get put
they'll
into
be-
the REACH
yes.
program and not get OSS for 7 weeks.
No,
or 8
you're exactly right, and at that point, we say, listen, you know, this program is not working for you,
Okay.
you know, this is your,
And we have done that.
Yeah.
It's the matrix of behaviors.
Mhm.
So, and we definitely have done that with some
yeah,
students.
no, definitely.
It's often paired with the suspension, but a
Yes.
shorter suspension than we used to. So hopefully there's a punitive piece, but it's less of a punitive piece and that. Then we come back and now there's a longer punitive piece and that. And, or an even longer punitive piece if you don't wanna do that. Like you said, the matrix has increasing consequences for repeat offenders. But that's still one of the tools in the toolbox that we use to hopefully offset just pure punitive suspension days.
Well, thank you, Bob and Dom. I know that this is an uphill battle. The culture has changed around cannabis use, and I think it's just something we're gonna have to continue to educate our families and our children about. I mean, this isn't 2% THC. People toked up when I was young. This is, 29 to 32% THC. The long-term effects and the risk factors on young people's brains is enormous. And I don't mean to go on a spiel, but this is what I do for a living, so it becomes very hard and personal for me.
It does.
So I appreciate it. I can appreciate the educational and counseling component. We just want young people to be motivated to take a look at their use and how it affects their lives and their brains. And I think as adults and community members, maybe we need to do a better job of protecting our young people. I don't know what to say. It is different. The culture is different. The norms are different. But I think you wouldn't give a fifth of vodka to your child before they came to school to drink. We wouldn't want them to come intoxicated to school. Why would we want anything else for them, or any other substance? So, but I'm glad they have a confident person to talk to at school that, they can talk about what's going on. So thank you for that component as well.
Enjoy the concert.
I bet we'll see you after the concert.
About that.
Yeah.
So we do have athletics. I don't see Ryan. You're gonna speak,
We're
Bill on his,
kind of taking,
okay, thank you.
Yep, all our winter sports have started up. We did struggle a little bit with numbers at first, some of the girls hoop teams, but, we're able to field teams, and actually a couple girls come out late, so numbers are actually going up even as we're playing, so, we're fine in that area. On here it says need, BOE approval, but we don't actually need approval. This is, let me explain, we did the merger last year for softball. Varsity, when we put it in, I said all levels this year, so they could modify, could play. So you need Board of Ed approval, but now you don't need it at a sub-varsity level, so it's more of me letting you know that we're gonna, Joe and I can sign off and all the schools sign off. We're gonna add the modified level, so if girls from the other schools wanna play modified, we're all set for that. Had our first wrestling tournament here 2 weeks ago, went really well. It was a great day, very well run. Mike did a good job. We had a lot of good help, a lot of good volunteers. Joe and I went down and got mats. Joe went and got mats. We brought them back. Maple Hill helped share their mats with us, and it's the wrestling community is really neat to see, especially our kids involved in the camaraderie around. It's awesome. So to bring other schools in is a really good thing. And every school, when they left, said we'll be back next year and help out in any way we can. So obviously, some of the Reach kids were there helping out throughout the day. It was really, really a good community event. So it was nice. Our JV, both our boys basketball teams participated in the Berlin Lebanon tournament. The JV boys actually won the tournament, so they did a great job. Really exciting. And then this is kind of reminders that we put out in emails and things, and it's been getting better, but still some of the middle school kids showing up unattended to games. They should have an adult with them or somebody responsible for them. We're kind of reminding our coaches that, responsible until they leave the building. So, we'll have a coach sometimes sit in with the modified kids at a game until their parents get there. That's fine, but we can't we're not here to babysit, so. The other thing addressing is just kind of something that all schools are seeing right now. Just sportsmanship across the board, trying to get on top of it. I saw it at a CYO game today. Parent got thrown out of the game, and I got a fan in the front saying, "What? The referees get paid. We should be able to say whatever we want." I can't believe you actually just let that come out of your mouth. For one, for two, why are we having a struggle to get officials? And that it's an epidemic. So a couple of things we're doing though. This isn't at every school. We're working on addressing sportsmanship and showing the athletes why we do it. We're trying to be good people, not just athletes. So some of the things we're going to go to is not just reading we're following the sportsmanship speech, but actually give the New York State sportsmanship speech and find like a student athlete to read it before each game and kind of show some goodwill up front and try to get, if it's coming from their mouths, maybe people will listen a little more, maybe it'll hit home a little more for them too. So Ryan and I are going to pop into the teams and kind of see if we can get a couple athletes that would do that before each game. We'll work on it. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Just to highlight, the wrestling is one of our sports where the participation is on the rise. There's a lot of interest in, we struggle sometimes with participation in sports here or there. That is one where we're on a rise.
It is cyclical, like all our boys teams are kind of up this year and the girls are down, but 2 years ago we had almost 30 girls on the soccer team. We graduated a lot last year. High school sports are very cyclical. So it's the down years that you really try to, push the younger kids to get involved. And,
just wanted to highlight a little bit of success
awesome.
there. There's some good recruiting.
You were there for a while. It was a great day. Very
yeah.
You have to be in 7th grade to wrestle?
Yes.
This is a dumb question. Is there a feeder program for wrestling? Like, do little kids
I know, that's
Not really. And even the feeder program for wrestling, even in the big suburban schools that have been like powerhouses for years, just became like a thing.
Okay.
I thought it was recess.
Recess.
But there's no feeder program, Jen, but Luke did it this year, loves it.
Oh my God.
Loves it, and he broke his arm.
Oh, I know. And the other day, and he goes, I sat down, talked to him, he goes,
Like I said,
Coach,
recess.
I just thought I bruised something. Well, and all of a sudden, the way he was still happy. He was down there.
It actually is probably.
He was probably
deep
trying to
focus.
do more than he should. I'm like, Luke, buddy, we want to get you better. So no, there's every kid in there. The modified numbers are up. They're having a ball.
Great.
Yeah, it's good. Awesome.
Why, you wanna run one? All right, next.
Where are you? Well, I got the track team, not the wrestling team.
There's a new
Where
one
I
for
grew
you.
up, Police Athletic League had the youth wrestling team. So it was all ages.
Yeah, what was the
Some members
youngest?
got involved.
Do you remember the youngest? You say youth, what defined?
Oh, they were like 6, 7 years
Oh,
old, the
really?
youngest ones. It was a community center, and they ran the program for all ages.
I had 2 girls, my girls were into it.
They even let us wrestle for a while too.
Megan, you are up. Outside of that, all that money
Thank you.
talk already,
Yes, outside
so-
of that massive presentation with a huge dollar amount on it. I handed each of you RCG Health Insurance Trust newsletter. So the RCG Trust is made up of districts throughout Rensselaer, Columbia, Greene counties. 6,000 members, there's 10,000 lives covered, so everybody gets one of these, every member, and in this district, every employee gets one of these, whether they're in health insurance or not, as long as they qualify for health insurance, whether they take our health insurance or not. There's the initiative of particular interest, especially for the trust this year, is health and wellness. And I am very proud to say that our health and wellness coordinator, Beth Ann Tamburino, just had our first health and wellness committee meeting in a long time. So the district is championing health and wellness, and that is in all facets of the word. It's physical, mental, financial health, all of those things. So we're looking forward to some activities surrounding health and wellness. There's some other articles that you might even find interesting. One of them being the new weight loss medications. You know, the diabetic medications that have turned into weight loss medications and the impact that that has had on the ability to attain drugs and society in general.
Nothing, never mind.
You sure? And there are a couple of highlights in here for districts that are doing an excellent job on health and wellness in their particular districts, and they kind of give a snapshot of what they're doing and what's worked in their districts and their success. And then there's just some information on the back of the board, which yours truly is on the board. I am the treasurer for the Health Insurance Trust, and then a listing of our member school districts and some contact information. So that's the gist of the handout that I gave you. Just quickly, every December, I give you guys a staff listing as of a snapshot in time. So that was attached to my board report. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it. It does look a little different this year. Rather than just a simple listing of our staff with their title, I did provide more of a chart, and I had a lot of help from Elena Shilstone, my account clerk in the business office, to develop this and make sure that we capture all of our staffing and whether they're instructional or non-instructional, and provide a little bit more detail about enrollment and class even specific enrollment and grade levels. So feel free, if you haven't had a chance to look at that and you looked at it over Christmas break, feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you might have. But I think it's really important to show a little bit more detail because we have hired more staff with the stimulus funding, and we have started new programs with that funding. So I think it's a nice way to highlight some of the new programs and stuff that we have. And then, of course, you have the monthly status report. And that's it for me, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Terry, cafeteria, how we doing?
Okay, I have a couple of things. We have had a slow rollout, but it's official. We have up and running our new interactive menu on our website that you can link from the district website. So the parents, anybody can go in and look at the menu, and they can scroll over the item and find nutritional information, allergy information. So if Leah hasn't sent you the email yet, Joe, you'll be getting it soon, because he's gonna put it out on Facebook. We've been trying to test it out with the nurse to see if we had any quirks that we had to get out before we let it to the general public. But they can, if they have allergies, they can select an allergy and it'll show all the items that has the allergy in it. So I bought it years ago, but I hadn't had the time, and when I got Leah That was one of the first things I gave her to do, was set it up.
What a great thing to use in health class, though, if they're doing a nutritional health, a health teaching lesson on, looking at labels and nutrition, like you could use the Interact, that would be fun.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Right?
And it literally, it will show
Down to
all
the
the different
90%.
items, so the different varieties of cereals, you can go in and look and see which cereal the kid had, or what flavor milk, all that kind of thing. Oh, and on the note of milk, because I didn't have that written down, the packaging for milk, it's starting. We've already had a couple issues with juice, that for 2 order cycles, I had to get foil top cups instead of the cartons. And the dairy has told me they are no longer be carrying skim in the carton, so it's starting. It's not full-fledged, but we are prepared that if it does go to that, I've already purchased dispensers to serve milk on the line in cups. So that's not even on here, but that was coming.
We're gonna have that all over the lunch.
Yeah, that's gonna spill.
I know,
Every time they
it's-
walk
but
with a tray.
it's
Oh,
gonna,
God.
it's,
They can't carry the tray with the carton of milk.
I know, so, no. For the elementary school, we will have cups with caps. For the high school, if this indeed does come to pass.
You're very optimistic that high school kids aren't gonna spill the milk.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah,
but-
overly optimistic.
They could take their tray, and what we're gonna do is we will have it past the line so they can come back up and get the milk. They don't have to take it on their tray. So the state has given us different options. We're supposed to offer 2 different types of milk, a minimum of 2 different types of milk. With the problem with the packaging, they sent out a statement saying, we understand this is happening, so if you have to, you can go down to 1 type of milk. Or if it's really too hard to get it, you have the option to not serve milk at all, which is counterproductive. But you cannot substitute juice for milk, anyway, in any form, unless it's a doctor's note. So, I don't foresee it being an issue till maybe February-ish. So, by then, maybe they'll find enough paper to make them. So, I'm hoping. So, but that being said, I mentioned at the last meeting, at the end of it, that it was coming, so it's been here. If you haven't had a chance to look in the kitchen before everybody else had their decorations up, the elementary cafeteria hallway and the cafeteria, it's all Whoville, so if you haven't seen it, take a peek.
Seen
Because
pictures.
it's disappearing on, the Grinch is coming back on Friday, and then Friday afternoon after lunch, everything's going away. So that, and I'm skipping over the next one to get to the really good stuff. So, we have been tasked with spending down some of my excess fund balance. So I have actually put some of those orders in, where we've ordered a new 6-burner range. And I have ordered to replace the steam table wells that are in there right now. They don't have drains in them, so every day they have to pour water in at the end and heat it up, and at the end of the day, they gotta suck the water out and get rid of it. So I'm ordering wells that you can just put the water in and drain. So I put the order in for that. We also already got a new faucet with sprayer for our 3-bay sink so that they can spray things down there. And I've ordered a hot proofing and heating cabinet, so we can order frozen dough and make our own, let them proof and rise and bake our own rolls. So I can't wait for that. And we have to still replace our ice machine. There's a couple other things going on that we're trying to replace. So now, the sheet that I gave you is, I was looking at the trends. It's all about looking at the trends and where the direction's going. Every year, they generally increase reimbursement to help support the increase in inflation and everything, so you get a little more money per meal. Now, once we became CEP, we were averaging, before CEP, we were averaging, out of the 1,100 students, about 700 meals a day. So where it says ADP, that's average daily participation. This is since we started CEP. So in 2000, we went from 700 to 800 to 900 to where we had in 2017 and 18, we had an average daily participation of 905 students for lunch out of 1,150 students. So that's extremely high ADP. Most districts are lucky if they get 50, you know, half of what they have. So we were doing really well, and then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, in 2019 and 20, we had a half year regular service, and then a half from March to June, it dropped it down to 672. And then the following year, when we had the split cohort deal, it was an average of 318 meals a day. So it was way down. And since then, since we started, we're trying to fight our way back to where we were before. So last year, we had 681 average daily participation, which is less than it was pre-CEP. So even though they're all eligible to eat free lunch, we're battling different things of attendance issues. So even though we have 1,100 enrolled between us and Questar, they're not all here, and if they're not all here, they're not all gonna eat. So we're trying, even though the reimbursement rates go up little by little by little, we're actually feeding less students. So what I did was I did September to November, so that's where we are right now. So right now, we are on a trend of making less money each month than the prior year. So we're definitely not gonna make I don't think we're not gonna be in the black, but I just know we're not gonna be up there like we normally are, because it is a trend and we are struggling to get kids to eat. Even though we've increased menu options, and bigger portions for some things. So we're trying to listen to them, try new things. And, but you can see the trend is actually getting them to actually come to eat, so that they can actually make use of CEP to have the free breakfast and lunch. So, so I just wanted you to be aware of that. We are actually struggling to get them to participate. That's the biggest thing.
You have to put it on the Ram News in the morning, come get your breakfast.
Yeah,
Today's breakfast is.
Yeah. So, and that's what I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Amy, how is PPS?
Well, I'm gonna be giving the larger presentation next month, and I'll be doing that jointly with our new Project Aware grant director, Jan Zadorian. So we're gonna have a lot more to share with you next month, and I won't steal his thunder, but there are quite a few things that are actually in the new business and your superintendent recommendations for some new hires that are directly related to that. So we have some really exciting things that you're approving tonight and that we'll be talking about in more detail next month. But some of the things I did want to talk about, we had our mediation training today. We had Chris Johnson and Rob Hillerman. Last year we partnered with Mediation Matters to start getting our mediation program up and running again. I guess it was here prior to my time here, then it kind of went out for a while and we brought it back. This year, Rob and Chris, they did the training themselves. So I'm very proud of the work that they did, honestly, to take what we had from that SEL grant last year and really leverage it into, okay, we learned, we gathered resources, we're now able to put on our own training of our own students this year. So they just did that actually today, and we had about 18 students that participated. So a really nice group, and I'm hearing really good feedback about those that are using, that peer mediation as a way of resolving difficulties. Both Bob and Dom are certainly helpful in referring kids in situations where it would be an appropriate situation to mediate. I also wanted to say a big thank you to the Alumni Association. I was glad they were here last month presenting about, we're here to help, and they funded the lunch for our students at their mediation training today, which was really nice. So they had a nice pizza lunch on the Alumni Association. The next couple things, I just wanted to kind of provide some updates. You've heard us talking about really great reading for a while, and we've been working hard on that rollout. It's a very extensive. It's been pre-K through 4th grade, everybody gets it, and then in 5th and 6th grade, it's for some more targeted groups. But we just had our first quarterly review meetings where Jeff and I were working out a way to really partner together a little bit more around kind of the oversight of that program, and had some great discussions at each grade level with where people are at in terms of running the program, answering questions, and working with our consultant from the company. And I think by and large, people are seeing some good success with students really absorbing. I really, in all of the observations I've been doing, I'm seeing the students using the hand motions, and the language is consistent around how we're teaching those kind of core literacy skills across our district now. And I think that's really exciting to see. Lots more work to be done, but really I thought that was a big step forward when we had those quarterly review meetings, and we could kind of really see pretty consistent use of the program throughout the grade levels. Also, just a little update, we had introduced this year using a special education consultant, Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper. So we've had her start working with a number of students, specific students, but also in some classrooms. And I'm seeing some really nice results from her work, collaborating not only with the teachers and in the classrooms, but with our PPS team, and kind of, it's been a good opportunity for us to kind of coordinate ourselves around some different levels of intervention that I think we've been trying to move the needle on. But she's also been working more directly with certain families. She's had some meetings outside of our regular meetings, with the providers that those families are working with their students. So I'm seeing some nice results of that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else we can do to kind of expand that. Again, really tooling up our staff and our families around supporting the needs of their students. So those things are rolling out nicely. We have our December newsletter that hopefully everyone checks out. We highlighted a few things that PPS has been partnering with Heather Williams in transportation around really getting our bus behaviors in order, and really looking to highlight and reinforce appropriate bus behavior. So that's something that we put in that December newsletter that we're going to try to really have some more kind of highlights and focus on those students that are doing the right thing through this next half of the school year. So that's kind of it for me for today.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. RTA, Tracy, is that you? Are you today for RTA? Who's for RTA? I don't know who's who. I'm sorry, Andrew.
Don't get Tracy anymore.
You're the other one. I'm sorry. I got that wrong. No. Got that wrong. I apologize. All right, so Andrew, you're on the spot for that? Okay.
So I'm here in lieu of Tricia Steck. I'm just
Okay, thank
presenting.
you.
Yeah, a bunch of people have sent in things to be presented from the RTA. So starting off, I sent in that my 9th grade English classes created jumbo-sized plot triangles on the back wall for one of the last novels that we read about the foster care system. It was a lot of fun, and we also had Miss Capizzola. She's been a teacher here for many years.
Yeah.
She several years, and she came in having adopted several children and worked in the foster care system for so many years. She came in and did a fishbowl discussion with all the students in 9th grade, talking about the system, ways to be active participants in your community around the foster care system, and different societal challenges and personal struggles that come along with that. So it was a great resource, and we'd like to thank her for coming in. Miss Beth Ann Tamburino was talking about her basic geometry students. They just finished up a unit on constructions. Their assessment is the outcome of them teaching the 6th graders on Wednesday. They partnered up and created a holiday design for the front and a flower for the back of a holiday card using the constructions that they learned. Their designs looked awesome. Ashley Zimble, the 8th graders, completed a team-wide holiday escape room on the morning of our December half day. Prizes were given to the top 3 teams.
Wait, a holiday escape room?
Yes.
That sounds so fun.
Doesn't that sound fun? The 8th grade team does an escape room almost every one of those half days, and they do a really nice job figuring one time, I think the 7th grade did one year, where they had to find Mr. Hillerman, somebody had kidnapped Mr. Hillerman, and he was out in like the soccer shed out back. So they do a lot of fun things those half days. Jennifer Leonard, Jackie Schatt, and Jen, they're our instructional coaches this year. They started to work with administration on professional development to help support the junior senior high school in addressing commitment number 1, the school education comprehension plan. The focus of commitment 1 is curriculum in terms of instructional practices. Time was set aside on the last early release day, and they gathered information from the different disciplines on their professional development needs and concerns. Rachel Ponte, our music teacher, auditions have happened for the junior senior high school musical School of Rock. The students are very excited. And as an added bonus, there are 6 faculty and staff members in the show. So make sure we're still gonna bully Bob into being in it, so it might be 7. So get ready to come out and rock with the School of Rock on March 21st to the 23rd. It's early this year, so she wants to make note that it is in March this year. On the elementary side, Kim Mooney says the holiday door decorating contest in elementary school is underway. Thank you to Christina Lane, Tara Kyer, and Matt Nunziato for organizing. The elementary school looks fantastic. I know Jason put out a great link today of all the doors. They're really an amazing job to everybody, and the high school participated as well. Christina Lane's gingerbread house decorating event with families. Families come into the school to decorate a gingerbread house with their kindergarten students, and parents come in to help students with the holiday center. So that sounds fun. Tricia Nixon organized the annual canned food drive in grades pre-K to 6 to benefit Concerns You. Sure that one is that still happening?
No,
It
it's
went very
over,
well.
but
It's
it
over.
went very well. I think they collected probably the most they've ever had.
Yes.
I came in one day and there were just like pallets of
Yes.
food. It was amazing.
Fantastic.
The varsity basketball boys load up 2 trucks, Timmy's and our truck, and then they take it down to Concerns.
Yeah, they
That's
collected.
amazing.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah. Building wide, really fast, RTA conducted its annual toy drive to benefit Concerns You. Van Rensselaer Elementary School, the holiday door decorating contest is underway. Staff members and teachers decorated 34 doors to spread holiday cheer around the building. Donations of $10 for each door were made, and half the money will be donated to the PTA.
You said there's a link for those doors? What
Yes, I
link?
believe Jason emailed it out today.
I think you posted it.
Posted it.
Posted it.
Yeah.
You said
You
something
posted it on the
about-
website and
You
Facebook.
said something about watching the news tonight?
Well, we had Spectrum here
Yeah,
today
and they were scanning the doors.
to see the candy canes and gifts handed out, but we caught a lot of doors along the way. I don't know what they'll cover. We also went to Whoville.
Yeah, I think it's all in the same. So, and it really does look amazing. And then, of course, last but not least, the junior senior high school. We had several doors decorated. Again, $10 donations. Half of that will go to the backpack program, and half to the winning classroom for the door. That's all I have.
Good job, thank you, Ann, thank you so much. All right, Joe, do you have any?
Just a couple of quick things to wrap back up. Jeff was unable to make it, but he did send an update, which I forwarded to you guys while we were sitting here. I wanted to take just a moment to thank Tracy for her work getting an MOA done. We really wanted to change the pay for nurses so that we could hopefully recruit someone in and change the pay for some of our lowest paid CSEA members. We were able to put all that together, and she took a bunch of hurdles and smoothed them out and got it done. And she needs to get a lot more credit than she probably ever will to move the system forward. I just wanted to publicly thank her. Just a quick reminder, Megan brought up that we have our staffing thing. This, her information that she gave you, that's the beginning of our budget conversation. So you know who works here. Then next month we talk about special ed, which is another big expense. And then the next month we'll talk about a lot of the rest of the expenses and then probably have some aid runs to work with. And then we'll start really piecing together the picture of the budget, but this is just the beginning of the conversation. Those things happen each year and kind of build on each other. And the last thing I just wanted to reiterate is we had a big presentation on the building condition survey. That happens in every school every 5 years. It was something to bring to the attention the things that are wrong in a school. But please keep in mind that as that's done through, it's real and it brings your attention. But just remember, whenever you bring a salesperson in to tell you why you need to buy their product, you get a certain kind of presentation. We don't need to do all of that, but we do need to do some of that. We don't need to do it all right now, but we do need to start talking about it and planning for some of it.
I know, and I'm sorry, I was a little bit taken aback. But can't we have Terry build it? She always comes out.
She's always in the black, right? One way or another, she figured it out.
For $9.
So the point is, really what we need to do is have the public approve a capital reserve in the coming year. Start putting money, start funding money into it. Start a discussion over the following year about maybe how we prioritize when we learn more about the project we need to get done now. And then we're on more of a timeline to start putting something together, to then go out to a vote, and then to then do things. This is going to take years.
Yeah.
This is not happening now. But we have something out there that we can talk about at this point. So I just wanted to keep that in perspective. We can't ignore that, but that was not the roadmap either. It's somewhere in between. But we're gonna have a big thing to
Oh,
solve.
I understand, but they did the big study and.
Right. Those were the only things I wanted to cover.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you. So, number 3 on our agenda is invitation to visitors to address the Board of Education. So if there's anybody in the audience that would, and I'll get, yes, I will do that, Mrs. Watson. But before I do that, I just wanted to say, I know that we have some students in the audience, so before we move on very quickly, I just wanted to do, in case we have to go somewhere else, I just wanted to say thank you for coming. I think you're here for a reason, right, for your class. We appreciate your time.
Thank
It's
you
a
for
little bit.
staying to the
Thank
end.
you for
Yeah.
staying. It's usually not this long, but we appreciate it. I do recognize that you're here. Oh, well, you know.
You're here for
I think
government.
this is what Joan always says, but if you wanna say, like, introduce yourselves, and then you can say you spoke at the meeting, and you can go back to your class and say you spoke at the meeting.
My name is Lydia. I'm a senior this year. I'm currently going for my next year plans. I'm going to Siena, and I'm gonna major political science, minor in language, and I just got into the 3+2 law program there as well. Congratulations. Everything's going great right now, but right now I'm here for my government class. But I would like to ask a couple questions.
Sure.
So, is she your speaker? I don't know her name, but. is she-
Megan?
Megan?
Yeah.
Oh, she's the fifth, she's our,
I'm the business administrator. I'm basically like the chief financial officer for the school district.
Okay.
So I oversee the budget,
Oh,
I oversee operations and maintenance,
okay.
I oversee food service, and I work with Joe, Mr. Kardash, on transportation.
And she just happens to be a really good speaker.
Yeah, I was like, maybe she's like your speaker, but.
And I'm the PR person.
Who's ever asked questions.
Thank you for asking that.
And do you guys like meet every month usually?
Sometimes twice or 3 times
Sometimes
a month.
more.
Usually once.
Well, I've seen you guys in the news. Especially her.
What did you think of tonight so far?
I thought it was pretty like well organized. I like how you guys had each a turn, and you guys were very professional about it. Because as a student, obviously, I don't see that kind of stuff. I just kind of see what actually goes on. But it's nice. It's nice to like.
We need to
ask
hear
the
that
underbelly.
too.
But it's nice to see that like someone is taking initiative for us and representing us and caring for our well-being. Like,
You are so well spoken. Congratulations.
I'd
Wanna be a
vote
new
for her.
speaker? Speaker in training.
Holly Side
Protege.
you guys do a pretty good job, and I appreciate
If I'm
it.
around.
Thank you.
It's good to know as a student that someone's like looking for us, making sure our environment is well taken care of.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank
This
you.
is gonna be hard to follow.
Are you
You
here
let
for
her
the
go
same thing?
first?
No pressure. Introduce yourself in a few words.
I am Jacob Jones. I'm a senior. This is my mom. And I'm also here for government. You know, it's not what Lydia said. It's not long, but I'm just here for government and listening to all of you speak.
Okay.
Can you name one thing you learned or got out of this or were surprised by?
Surprised that just all of the the attention that you guys give to us students.
Thank you. Thank you, honey. All right, sorry, Mrs. Lawson, go right ahead.
Hello, I'm Harmony Lawson. I'm a senior. I'm here for government.
Waiting to
Just
behind
like
you.
my friends.
You're hiding by there, Harmony. I didn't see you. Okay, behind your mother. All right.
Honestly, my future, I don't see. I still working on my future. I've been trying to focus more on school because recently I got kicked out. Sorry, you're good.
It's okay, take your time.
Yeah.
We're here.
The other thing, Mrs. Lawson, I could suggest, if you want to have an individual discussion regarding anything, that we can go into an executive session so that we can have a more open discussion and it's not taped. One thing we can't do in an open session is has personal one-on-one conversations regarding a family or a student, because it's not legal to do that. So we can call an executive session and you can have a chance, she and you guys can have a chance to talk with the board, and then we can come back in. I would recommend that for you and for her. Unless Joe, that's what I would recommend. I would like the motion, we go into executive session, it would just be the three of you, and then us go out into the room and have a conversation. Oh, you can. So we, as a board, cannot have, I know that Harmony was speaking, but if you want to have open discussion with us, back and forth conversation regarding anything you want to bring up about Harmony, we can't do that in an open board meeting and have a conversation with you. We can listen.
With her particulars.
Right.
We can't reply.
So if I motion for an executive session, we can step out with you and have a conversation back and forth. In this open session, because it's videoed, we would not be able to give any feedback. And I'm not somebody that
For your own sort of,
it's really for your own safety.
for
to
your
do
own
this.
privacy
Privacy.
concerns, we would not wanna talk about it specific.
Yeah.
Personally, I think everyone should be able to hear this.